So help me understand, because like you came up and freestyled, and that was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You had just told me that you were like around during the beginning of the Young California.
Yeah. So we can get into it. So
kind of give me all that, your background, like your journey.
So basically, bro, I always been like doing music. I was playing ball and doing music. After high school, I realized I didn't want to go to college, right? It was just like something I didn't want to do. I'm not someone fit for a school setting. So I was like, I'm going to do music full time. And I gained like popularity in my community very fast in like the Pittsburgh, Antioch area. Mm-hmm. So you ever heard of Young Kurt?
Yeah.
I was like the label that pushed Young Kurt.
Okay.
So it was me, it was Kurt, it was Young D, it was a bunch of us. And I was kind of more so playing the executive role, and Kurt was the artist. So I had stopped rapping. I'm being his hype man at certain shows, doing certain meetings and everything like that, to where I was just in executive mode. So we kind of had a falling out, and I went back to doing music. That's when I met A-Man, Nick Nack, and everything, and we had came together. I'll never forget this day. We was at PF Chang's in Emeryville. It was me, A-Man, Charisma, Starting Six, Young Murph, Bobby Brackens, and I Am Soup, right?
Wow.
P-Lo, too. And we were starting this thing called Young California, and it was going to be like a label where we all collabed and did music and everything. And what happened was, about a few weeks to maybe a month later, Beat the Pussy Up just shot the fuck out the fucking world. It just went out the fucking world. And that brought a lot of exposure to the Bay. It brought a lot of publicity. A lot of publicists started coming out. A lot of these big brands started coming out. And HBK was at the forefront of that because they had the that
was
squad.
Really a Sue record too, by the way.
It was a Sue record that Sue didn't want to be. He didn't want the record. Sue was like a real lyrical rapper at the time.
He was tripping, by the way.
Like he was a real. Sue was rapping on shit like J Electronica Exhibit C. And shit like that, right? So he didn't want it to be looked at like he was trying to make a sellout record. So he let Rance take the record, and Rance was a party promoter. So Rance is going to all the parties every fucking night, grabbing the mic, playing this shit over and over and over and over, and it just shoots the fuck up, right? So it brings a lot of attention to the Bay. Now you got 50 Cent getting on the record, T.I. and Jeezy and Pleasure P and Chris Brown. Shout out to Jay Valentine who put that together.
That Jay Valentine remix, the one I play.
Yeah, that's my dog. Shout out Big Bro. So a lot of that had happened, and a lot of the artists under that kind of got lost in the sauce because we just didn't have what HBK had going on, and it was their time to shine. So HBK took off, and I kind of started noticing like they was getting bigger than the Bay, right? And then you started seeing like G come out, G-Eazy comes, and then he's taking everybody on tour, you know what I mean? He's bringing Sue, he's bringing J Ant, he's bringing Neff the Pharaoh, so now we starting to get recognition. But it was certain artists who was getting those looks that wasn't the people I just named, but they were hitting a ceiling. And I always noticed they would hit this ceiling. They'd get a record, they go to Petaluma, do shows, get a couple Thizzler posts, do a couple summer jams, and it was over. It was never nothing after that, but Sue and G and everybody, they shit was still going. And I noticed it was going because they wasn't just staying in the Bay. You know what I mean? They started moving around and doing different things. So at the time, I was like, you know, doing little Bay shit. You know, we all do scams and little things that we was doing to get money. Saved up enough money, and I moved to LA. And the minute I moved here, I realized for the type of music I wanted to make, I wasn't good enough. So I met Phonics, who had me around like while he's making No Role Models for J. Cole. I'm going to sessions with Hitmaker while he's writing Ray Shrimmer hits and just like all these big ass songs. And I'm like, oh shit, all I can do is rap. I can't write a hook. I don't know how to structure a song. But if you put on the instrumental, I'ma flame this motherfucker, right? And it wasn't until I met somebody almost around the time when I met you, the homie D Brooks, who is from Chicago, does a lot of work with like Dirk and Herbo and everybody. And he kind of was the first person to put it in perspective for me. Like, bro, a lot of your raps is hooks. Like, you could take this part and make it the hook. You know what I mean? You could move this over here. You could do this. And I started learning how to structure shit. But then the problem I started having was I would hear something and try to duplicate it. So one day I'd be a rapper, and the next day I hear some Future shit going up, and I'm like, this is what they want?
This is what they want. Let me do this.
I'm like, try to do this.
I think that's what a lot of people get sucked into, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dope that you admit that, because a lot of artists get wrapped up in that.
It's easy to.
Super easy, especially if you consume music as a fan. You're like,
you waking up every fucking Thursday night at 9 p.m. or in the morning, and you looking at the new fucking music that drops, right?
Yeah, it's very hard not to be influenced by it.
And you see
popping.
this shit. You see it like, okay, this is what the fuck works. Well, shit, let me try it.
Let me do this.
You know what I mean? And then you try it, and it don't work.
Because it's not organic.
It's not organic, right? So what I realized by doing that, I wasn't developing an identity for myself. So I had to sit back, bro, and I really had to think, like, what is it I want to do? So around the time I had met you in Head, when y'all had brought me up there, and that goes to show how real y'all is as DJs, right? And not even just DJs, just culture curators, to bring somebody who's trying to figure it out up there with no record, no nothing. It's just like, shit, the kid can rap, let him come up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. But around that time, I started figuring out, like, what I really do great is rap, right? And I met my homie Cass that you met, my producer. We went out to eat, and he had 2 videos up of me. I had this song out one time where I was singing and another song where I was rapping. And he put them on 2 phones, and he asked me, which one are you, right? And I said, I'm the rapper. And he was like, then why are you singing? I'm like, well, this what people told me, this what they like to hear. And he looked at me and he said, man, don't ever run from rap. Don't ever run from rap. You too good of a rapper to run from rap. And ever since that day, running from rap to me started meaning, this is the first time I ever said this publicly, is don't run from responsibilities and principles, right? I had a responsibility as a rapper, you know what I mean, to be dope and to be great at that. That's the gift I was given. But I'm running away from it to try to chase what other people's things is. So I'm basing my values and my expectations based off what other people was getting rather than just living in my own truth of what I am.
Yeah.
And the minute I started doing that, bro, it was like shit started clicking. I started realizing, like, okay, I don't want to be somebody in the streets. Let me make a song about that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be selling drugs and scamming my whole life. Let me make a song about that. And that's how I started developing a consistent message and an identity of what I'm standing on as far as growth and as a man of doing something different than what we all are supposed to do as black men growing up in impoverished communities.